Quick question. Do you actually know what your stock is doing to your cash flow right now? Or are you avoiding thinking about it in too much detail? Because most retailers aren't reckless, they're just too close to see the problem clearly. That's why Stock Doctor exists. It's our done-for-you stock management service delivered by one of our highly experienced retail experts here at the Resilient Retail Club. We look at your stock and tell you how much to buy, when to buy it, what's tying up money, and what will actually free up cash without damaging your business. But don't just take my word for it.
I'm Kate from Happy and Glorious in Canterbury. I've been a Stock Doctor client now for about 18 months and I absolutely love it. It gives me clarity, it gives me direction, it gives me energy. I always feel better after my monthly call with Paula.
If that sounds like something you've been missing, go ahead and book a call at stockdoctor.net. For independent retailers, profit isn't optional, it's what keeps the doors open.
I understand cash is important, you need cash in the till, but if you're not making actually any money off your hard work, if you're not making money off the products that you're selling, then you're going to just end up being in the same situation.
Ever felt like you're juggling flaming torches while blindfolded? That's pretty much the feeling for most indie retailers trying to keep tabs on stock.
They can't keep an eye on everything. We didn't have to just choose what was on markdown. We had to make sure that we were making sure that everything that we put on sale was at the right discount so that we were still being profitable.
Suddenly everything's 20% off whether it needs it or not. But does it have to be that way? Here's where smart indie retailers can get an edge.
I said some clients wanted to wouldn't it just be easy if we put all this in? I was like, if it's selling in full price, why are you going to give it away for 30% off?
Welcome to the Resilient Retail Game Plan. I'm Catherine Edley, and in the next few minutes, you're about to get powerful real-world retail strategies from insights shared both from my guests and myself, backed up by my 25 years in the retail industry. Keep listening to learn how to grow a thriving, profitable product business. Let's jump in with this latest episode. Let's be honest. The online business world is full of big promises and inflated claims. Huge growth, fast results, very little substance. One of the biggest shifts for me when I left corporate retail 8 years ago and started working for myself was realizing this. If you want integrity in what you sell, you can't rely on hype. You have to build things that create real, tangible results. Independent retailers don't need noise. They need outcomes they can see, track, and trust. That's exactly why Stock Doctor exists. It's a done-for-you service built around real sales data, real stock data, and decisions you can measure over time. We already know, based on previous research, that many Stock Doctor clients are generating an extra £5,000 of profit for every £100,000 of revenue within 6 months, even after the cost of the program. That's incredibly exciting in terms of creating real results. But I wanted to go deeper than that. So in this episode, we're talking about what those results actually look like in real businesses. I'm joined today by Paula Majuli, our original Stock Doctor, the first person to join the program. Paula brings deep merchandising experience from senior roles at brands like Anthropologie, and she works closely with a wide range of independent retailers. She's been pulling together a year's worth of client results, and what stood out wasn't just higher profitability and lower stock levels. It was a shift in confidence, clarity, and energy once retailers stopped feeling stuck. Paula's going to walk us through the numbers, the patterns she's seeing, and why getting intentional about stock and sales can change far more than just your spreadsheet. This episode for me is so exciting because it proves what I've known all along, that the principles and best practices that we've learned over decades in big businesses really do make a difference to indie retailers in a measurable, concrete way. For me, it doesn't get more exciting than that. Let's dive in. Really excited to jump into the numbers. So, Paula, do you want to start off by just sharing a little bit about the research that you've just done?
Yes. So I have now been doing Stock Doctor for nearly 18 months. So after the first 6 months, we saw some growth. We saw plus 10 sales, minus 10 stock. Now that we've done it with some clients I've been working for a full year, it has been even better. We're now seeing results where the overall sales for 2025 were plus 17 sales, minus 14 stock, but also we're really working on businesses' profitability and their profit margin. The gross profit margin was up by 20%.
Wow,
so it's just
amazing.
been so strong. And seeing these business owners like seeing, they get this glimmer of light, they started to get excited about their business again, when before they came to us, they were just like coming to us like, we're so stuck, don't know what to do. But, it's so refreshing to be able to do what we do best, which is like being able to look at the data, analyze, and really just pick out those easy wins for them, while also helping them manage, like getting their stock down is so important, especially when these businesses are so overloaded with stock.
One of my favourite sayings is turnover is vanity, profit is sanity. And for independent retailers, profit isn't optional, it's what keeps the doors open. What still surprises me is how many shop owners are pricing based on what they think they should charge, or what someone else once told them, rather than what actually works for their business. In this next moment, Paula talks about the hesitation she sees when it comes to raising prices. She asks some really direct questions. Are you happy with your margin? Do you actually know what it is? Because at some point, you have to stop thinking about someone just trying to sell and start thinking about your business. You're not here to sell everything until you're exhausted. You're here to build something sustainable. This isn't about discounting everything. It's about making deliberate decisions that protect your margin and give the business room to grow. Let's listen in. Nothing helps you be more resilient than being more profitable, right? Because that's how you can ride the wave.
Absolutely.
Or the roller coaster.
Absolutely. And that's something that I've been speaking a lot with my clients a lot, because I think sometimes there's this overwhelming feeling that when things get slow, they're like, we just need sales in, we need cash in the till. And sometimes some of the measures they have used in the past doesn't necessarily lead to profitability, which is sometimes, like constant discounting or blanket promotions. To be able to like say to these clients, it's like, I understand cash is important. You need cash in the till. But if you're not making actually any money off your hard work, if you're not making money off the products that you're selling, then you're going to just end up being in the same situation. You're not actually getting any further. One way you can manage profitability is obviously through the amount of discounting and promoting you do. But one of the things I've been really challenging my clients on is like, when you bring stock in, are you happy with the margins you're selling it at? Is it 30%? Is it 40%? Is it 50%? Is it higher? Like, what is your aim? And sometimes they're like, oh, we've just got, the RRPs. Sure, generate, those are recommended retail prices that you've been given to follow. And in some respects, you should, because it's kind of aligning with the industry. However, sometimes I say to them, you're not just a business or a shop. You're like a brand. You're selling a lifestyle. You're selling something. So sometimes you can tweak those prices. Because at the end of the day, you have to survive. If you don't have enough profit going on, then you can't keep on going.
Yeah.
So that's been quite, and I think, to see that light bulb moment in my clients and go, oh, okay. And so actually they're kind of like, yes, they want their sales hit their targets, but they're also like, what's my margin looking like? Am I being more profitable? And they're being more mindful about the decisions that they're making from choosing product, but also based on how much discounting they're doing in store at any point in time.
Yeah. There's a moment that a lot of retailers describe after joining Stock Doctor. Not exactly excitement, but relief. Here's what one client had to say about it.
I'm Kate from Happy and Glorious in Canterbury. I've been a Stock Doctor client now for about 18 months and I absolutely love it. And I cannot imagine running my business without this incredible service. It changes everything.
Stock Doctor isn't about being told you did something wrong. It's about having someone calmly explain what's working, what's draining cash, and what to stop stressing about. Retail is hard enough without your stock undermining you. If you want clarity instead of second guessing, go ahead and book a call at stockdoctor.net. Ever felt like you're juggling flaming torches while blindfolded? That's pretty much the feeling for most indie retailers trying to keep tabs on stock, cash flow, staff, and marketing week after week. Between tight margins and rapidly changing customer demand, there's not much room for error. Both myself and Paula have lived this life inside big retail, but the real difference is how we bring it all to the independent shop owner, without the stress, the shame, or the finger wagging. If you've ever opened your stock room and found a whole lot of unsold stock, you're not alone. In big retail, that would trigger some pointed questions and probably a firing or two. But at Stock Doctor, it's about practical solutions, helping owners clear the decks with confidence, not guilt. In the next part, you'll hear how empathy and expertise make the difference. It's a glimpse into just how complex retail is and why solidarity plus rock-solid data are game changers.
It's super, super fundamental. And I think it's wild when you think about some of my clients before they've even come to us. I've said to them, like, you've done such a good job to where you've got to this point in terms of like the product selection that you're choosing. You've managed to open a shop on your own. That's so commendable. Like, I'm like, you've done so well. But at the same time, it's like there are so many plates that they're spinning, so many hats that they're wearing the whole time. They can't keep an eye on everything. So the things that we've been taught, like you said, drummed into us, and there were things that were drummed into us, like we didn't have to just choose what was on markdown. We had to make sure that we were making sure that everything that we put on sale was at the right discount so that we were still being profitable. We had like a percentage of how much stock was allowed to be left in the business after sale so that the business wasn't carrying all this legacy old stock. And so when you're working with these clients and you've seen that they've got like 3 years worth of stock sitting in the back, it was like, oh my God, if my boss was here, this would be a completely different story. But obviously we're delivering this service from a place of love and confidence, and explaining to them, like, you've done nothing wrong. No one teaches you this. Like, I didn't know this until I walked through the doors of my big first corporate job. Like, I didn't realize. I was just like, I'm here working in fashion. But when you realize the importance that goes behind profitability, managing your stock, making sure you've got the right week's worth of stock in your business at any point.
Yeah.
You're buying enough of those best sellers, that you're not running out. God, if you run out of your best sellers, it would be like, it'd be crucified for like a week about it.
Let's talk about progress, the kind that doesn't come with frantic midnight Google searches for how to clear excess stock without damaging your brand. Stock Doctor's real gift isn't just spreadsheets or monthly calls, it's empowering indie retailers to become confident, data-led business owners. You're not just getting numbers thrown at you, you're getting clarity, encouragement, and a sounding board for your toughest decisions. It's easy to get lost on the hamster wheel. Buy, sell, repeat. But imagine having a trusted mentor to break down the trouble spots, cheer your wins, and never let you slip back into old habits. That's the real vision here, practical strategy delivered with warmth and honesty. In this next section, listen for how Paula describes those light bulb moments with long-term clients. The confidence that comes from actually understanding your margins, your sales, and your next steps. And I just think that's what's so joyful, is that we know it works, we know it's important, and then to actually get these results. I mean, I think that I'm just so proud and happy about what Stock Doctor has been able to do for people, because you figure, so after 6 months, we're seeing plus 10% sales with 10% less stock, which basically effectively means that the program pays for itself.
Exactly.
Plus additional profit. And then I was really keen for you to run them again after a year to see what happens. And then, to have it even better. Right, which way round? Plus 17 sales, minus 14 stock, or the other way round?
It's plus 17 sales.
17 sales.
Minus 14 stock. Plus 20 gross profit.
% gross profit, which is incredible. And I think just so transformational. And at a time when, there are a lot of, there's lots of positivity in the high street. I see lots, as you say, lots of our clients are amazing and they're doing brilliantly. But there's also, I think, whenever there's extra challenges, and there's always extra challenges, you need to be more resilient. You need to be more on top of things. And I think for us to have created a service that pays for itself, supports people, and also really just supports them as shop owners. I think that's the other great thing as well, is that you're doing the analysis for them, but you're also really helping them understand about what it means to run a profitable business, which is, so fabulous to see as well.
Yeah. It's like giving them like the responsibility of just like, and also just like making them realize like what it takes to run a business. It is the creative side, it's the retail side, it's the bricks and mortar side. It's like all of that, the management of your staff. What I try to do is like try and get my clients excited about the numbers. Like, look at what this is saying. Look at what this is telling us. This is telling us that this is doing really well. Let's explore that. What does that mean? Can we like expand on this range? And then it gets them excited about the things that they do want to do, which is some of them love to go out and look for new brands and look for new products. So it's like, but giving them the confidence to do that with the numbers rather than it just being like, yeah, maybe just try it out. No, it's like, okay, this category is plus 20. This is running off 5 options. But we're running out. Like, what do we do? Do we buy more of that? Or do you want to explore maybe another brand and another price, at another price bracket? What do you want to do? And so it's not just us telling them what to do. We're giving them insights and then putting it back onto them and go like, where do you want to take this? Like, where do what do you think this is telling you about your business? And then so that's what I think is important. Like, we do the numbers, we do the data analysis, we present all this amazing, juicy information to give them the confidence to take that, to make better decisions. But I also like seeing, the clients that have been with me the longest, like actually go, okay, so that's telling us that we should do this, right? And there's me going, the soundboard, and go, yeah, sure, like this is what this is telling us. So it's exciting. It's great to know that they're using us to be able to pull that information, pull that data together, but then also see them up level as business owners and seeing how they're actually growing within themselves and making better decisions with the information that we're giving them. And I think that's super exciting as well.
There's nothing quite like hearing the transformation in a real business. When an independent retailer goes from stuck to thriving, the ripple effects are huge, not just in sales, but in confidence and ambition. Here's a story that really stuck with me: a client moving from a smaller shop to a larger, busier space and seeing a rapid growth, the kind that changes both your bottom line and your sense of what's possible. Let's listen to how Stock Doctor makes those leaps not just sustainable, but repeatable.
That's where I think we're really seeing the strong results. And off the back of what we do, we've had one business go from a much smaller store that was tracking a +5, and now they've moved into a bigger store with better footfall. So everything we'd done up to that point was compounding. And then towards the end of the second half, they were up +38. So it's like allowing these clients not just only improve their business within their four walls, shall we say, but it's also giving them the opportunity to go, okay, this works. So where do I actually want my business to be? What's the space? How do I want to actually represent this? And so I feel like Stock Doctor, as well as giving you more sales and making your stock much more productive and making more profit for your business to basically survive and grow, I think it's also just giving clients the confidence to actually create the business that they've always wanted, because they've got the numbers, they've got the cash in the bank, and they can actually up level. And I think that's pretty amazing too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that it's funny enough because I actually worked with a company that was fully stationary. They did sell more than just pencils, but it was mostly stationary. And actually using the principles that guide Stock Doctor, the merchandising principles, they had an incredible result where one year their sales were actually level, but their profit was up massively. And like up £25,000 or something like that. And I think, for most small businesses, £25,000 additional profit is transformational. It can make a huge difference.
Huge difference, yeah, for sure.
We all know the Black Friday drill. Emails flood in, shops scramble, and suddenly everything's 20% off whether it needs it or not. But does it have to be that way? Here's where smart indie retailers can get an edge. Listen in as Paola breaks down a more thoughtful approach, targeting discounts where they'll actually help with excess stock, not just slashing margins because everyone else is doing it. This isn't about being stingy, it's about protecting your bottom line while still staying competitive in a noisy marketplace. You'll hear the kind of advice that separates strategic independence from the discount parade, selective offers that drive traffic and meaningful results both in-store and online. It's exactly the kind of savvy mindset shift that can shift the needle on cash flow and profit. Now let's hear some lessons learned from this year's Black Friday promotions, including the numbers that show it really does pay to resist blanket discounting. I thought what was interesting about this is not only do we get some great results, but also I'd love for you to just explain a little bit about the approach that you took with clients getting ready for it.
Absolutely. So let me tell you, Black Friday week was sensational. I'm going to say that with my chest because it was absolutely amazing. So all my clients that did Black Friday or, that I've been working with through Black Friday, the overall result was +41 on the same week last year. Bricks and mortars, that was a +20. Online, there was a much bigger growth of +81. But that's because a lot of my clients weren't really using their online space properly. So that was something that we've also been correcting this year about how much product is on there and things like that. So Black Friday, so my approach was, the way I think about it is that when Black Friday first started many years ago, it was like obviously done by, one or two retailers and everyone caught on. And then it kind of there was a bit of rhetoric around it, like I'm not doing it this year, like I'm not going to do Black Friday, like I'm not going to do this. But at the same time, the way I look at it is just from the buying behavior, like it doesn't matter what's going on. We know that Black Friday week, people are ready to shop. That is people's last pay packet before Christmas and everyone's ready to shop. So the traffic is always there. My point of view with all my clients is that if you're open to it, you should do it. You should do Black Friday. You should be seen doing it. But what I don't want you to do is do some crazy blanket 20% off everything, or like have something running for 3 weeks, because that's what some people are doing now. I'm like, you don't need to do that. There's 2 things that we can do. By mentioning that you're in Black Friday, you are going to instantly drive more traffic to your business because people are subconsciously looking out for the bargains, right? So if you're doing Black Friday, they're going to go to you. But what you want to do is that when they get to you, you want to make sure that you have got the right strategy in place for your business. So for example, where some of the clients that I've been working with this year who have come to me and are maybe slightly overstocked in certain areas, we would do something like a selected range that would go into markdown. So we would be like, okay, selected lines plus 30, say, for example, if it was something that really needed to be shifted. But what we saw was that not only did we manage to get rid of some of that stock that needed to be discounted, the price that stayed full price also lifted. But the lift was so much bigger than it would be when we would normally do that discount, say at another time of year when it wouldn't be marked down, because the traffic was there. So my view is like, there's no harm. And I think there's sometimes, I think you've talked about this before, Catherine, that sometimes people just think that if you're in markdown, it's a reflection that your business is bad. I'm like, no, it's a really useful tool to use if used properly and strategically and taken into account the discount that you're doing. I said some clients wanted to just like, wouldn't it just be easy if we put all this in? I was like, if it's selling in full price, why are you going to give it away for 30% off? Trust me. And I have to say, some of the clients that I started with me towards the end of the year, you could see it in their eye. They're like, are you sure? And I'm like, trust me, this will work. I said, I honestly will be surprised because someone really loves something. If someone really loves it, they'll buy it. They've got the money, they will buy it. That was one of the things that we majorly focused on, was like, use that time to get rid of product that was underperforming rather than just wait to get rid of it at Christmas.
Yeah, because then you can do 30% off instead of more like 50. People expect almost like 50% off in a sale. So you can move it. And also, I think a really good point as well about when they hit your site on Black Friday and they see these things are in the offer and these things are not, they immediately go, right, well, these things that are not in the offer are obviously never going to be in an offer. So if I want it, I better buy it. Yeah, that's fantastic. So not only were the sales up, but also you were protecting the margin.
I mean, that is the job, isn't it? The job is to protect the margin. And it's like, there's feedback, where it's like, but it's so much easier if you put everything in. I'm like, sure, it is easier. I'm not going to disagree with you. It is a lot easier if you can just put a blanket thing on your system and everything comes off. But I said, but what do you want? Do you want more money in the bank and funnel the traffic towards the product that you think isn't selling? And let's give it another shot and try and get rid of a little bit more of that.
But the growth isn't just about moving premises. It's about how strategy and solid decision-making give business owners the confidence to keep evolving. This next bit is all about just that. How getting your numbers sorted unlocks not just the cash in the bank, but the mindset to expand, to explore new categories, and to build a business that feels genuinely exciting. So if you're wondering whether all those hours spent staring at spreadsheets and mapping margins really pay off, here's some evidence that it does.
Sometimes we, as humans, we always choose the path of least resistance. But I always say the best things, especially for businesses, you sometimes have to do the things that make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. But I know that after the results that we've had, they're like, oh my God, we should so do that again. I'm like, yeah, we should. Because it worked and you've got amazing sales and you've cleared out stock that wasn't working and we've protected your margins. You've had a much stronger sales margin during Black Friday than you did last year when you just blanketed everything. There were people that were like, I've never done it before. I don't know if I want to do it. And I'm like, okay. And we had to talk about it. But I said, look, you are in a bit of a heavy stock position. Don't wait until Boxing Day to do something about it. This is an opportunity for like a few days. It would be a dent, not a massive dent necessarily, but it could be a dent. That means that when you come to do it again at Christmas, at least you've started getting rid of it rather than leaving it all in one last minute. So, but there were a couple of people that really didn't want to do it. I didn't necessarily push it. I was like, I completely understand. If you really feel against it, then I respect that. But I would always give them my advice on why I think they should. And then and it's up to them at the end of the day as well. So.
And I think so valuable as well for them at a time when they're spread so thin and so busy to have someone who could actually just say, right, this is what you need to do. These are the things that I suggest that you discount, off you go, rather than them going, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? And I think, again, that's why, with Stock Doctor, we focused it on being a person that talks to you once a month, that can sit you down and just say, like, right, this is what you need to do. And this is what you're going to go for. So thanks to your hard work, thanks to all the clients who really put their time and effort into it, which is amazing. And I guess what are you excited about in 2026? What's your prediction? What's going to happen? What are you excited about?
I have to say, I think with some of the clients that have been standing longer with me, I think where we've really managed to get the stock in a really good place. I think for me, we've been talking about even improving the margins even better, getting them to maybe expand on certain areas of their business, like seeing things grow. That's super exciting. For me, businesses that have also come to me and maybe haven't made the most of, I don't know, there's certain things that I love to do, like money mapping and things like that. When we're focusing on when you've got bricks and mortar stores, you're making sure that the stock is also in the right location in stores and things like that. And I think I'm just excited to just kind of help clients, especially those that have really sort of got their stock in a good situation. Now they're helping them with their buying and in terms of making sure that they're buying the right amount of stock of the right things. And I mean, there's so much. I mean, there's not just one thing. There's so much because each client's different. So it's really, really hard to sort of one specific thing. But I think helping some of those bigger clients with their buying season and things like that, that's always really helped making sure they've got a budget for that and make sure they've got a budget for all the right categories. And then working with clients that, even getting them to really analyse who their brands that they're working with and making sure that they've got the better margins and all that sort of stuff. And that's all that's all different types of analysis that we can also pull off. So it's all very exciting.
Thank you so much for joining me this week. I've absolutely loved this episode because nothing excites me more than seeing real tangible shifts in real life retailers. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do take a moment to leave us a review. That would be absolutely fantastic and it helps us get the podcast out to more people. If you follow or subscribe, depending on the platform that you're on, you'll be the first to know about each new episode when it comes out on a Thursday morning. See you next week.